On this episode of Bombs Away, we tell you about how we spent 12 years building a discography just to watch it drive away, about how a dose of vitamins C, D can make all the difference in someone's life, and about how our selling out just might change the way that duos make music.
Ooh. It's episode 4, Bombs Away. We've been building our discography on Cape Town Records since 2010. We've put out 3 LPs and 4 7-inches, and now it's about to drive away. Because it's turning 16 years old. We're going to be playing the Cape Town Records 16-year anniversary spectacular in Chicago at One City Tap on Saturday, March 9th. And we're going to be playing with every Chicago band that's on the label.
These bands are all near and dear to our heart because we had the opportunity to have this awesome impact on their records. So Patir Filius, who's this awesome father-son folk duo, I produced that record. I chased crazy sounds on it. I clapped on it. You might hear me say yeehaw at some point on it, on editorial if you're listening. And they even let me send the guitar solo through an FM transmitter and bring it back to a radio, which is one of the cooler moments. I mixed it. I even spliced all the tape on it. Great record. I did the same with Safe Harbour, which is this ethereal Leo Kottke-ish kind of disc. She's so talented. This is her first 7-inch, and she's actually releasing it tonight too, or that night. And so I produced it. I helped her put 2 different songs together. I had her run her acoustic guitar through a mechanical chorus. It's just a cool record. And on others, if you start reading the liners of the jackets, you might see our names too. So let's take, for example, Vortis. Vortis is an awesome band, the best punk rock that Chicago has to offer. I'm the supervising producer on there, and it's a great record. And the Human Trials, who's this gruesome twosome who makes this beautiful nightmare of sound.
It really does mean a lot for us to leave a positive mark on all of these different bands and different styles of music. It's going to be a special night, and we are thrilled if you can make the trip to Chicago and come check it out. Cape Town does these in March because March is the worst month. Yeah, and we all need like a pick-me-up to get us through until the good month that is April.
Speaking of March being the worst month, we have a dose of vitamin C, D that just might be the cure to March malaise. See, March is a terrible month. There's job stuff, there's family stuff, there's identity stuff, general existential crises. Sometimes we don't have the motivation to do the things that we love. Sometimes we just need a spark. And that's what we're about to offer, a spark.
If you have someone in your life who's maybe going through a tough time or just something icky, and you know how much like a little love can go a long way, we're going to send them a copy of our CD, New Love is Easy, with a handwritten note and just some words of encouragement at no charge. And all you have to do is write to us at thexbombers@gmail.com or find us on social media, any one of them. Just hit us up. It's usually at thexbombers. Tell us their situation and how maybe they might benefit from a spark, from a little inspiration that they might need. And we will select 1 or 2 people to send it to.
See, the whole point of this record is that life is going to try to do terrible things to you. It's going to try to destroy you. But at the end of it, we can still make our heart beat. Let us know whose defibrillator we can be. Speaking of needing a shock to the heart during the worst months of the year, we decided to completely renovate our studio. If you've been following the saga, it went a little something like this. We decided we couldn't use old sounds to record new songs. Then we decided we couldn't make those new sounds in an old space. And then if we had new sounds in a new space, that we shouldn't be focusing on old things that we've been doing in life. And so we've made the conscious decision to just focus on the one thing we want to look at and focus on and live in, which is the X-Bombers. So this is our private studio at this point, meaning that we're going to write more, we're going to rehearse more, we're going to record more, we're going to film more, we're going to hang out more. It's going to be great. I think we're onto something really special with Ivy, and our live set is really good, and I want to keep making it better. And this room is a manifestation of that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. We've been here 11 years, but strangely, this space has never felt like us. So we're working on fixing that. Our friend Mike from California wanted to know like a little bit about specifically the studio. And really it was like two things we were switching up. And the first one was aesthetics, which is just how it looks. You know, we're changing the paint color, getting a new rug, new light fixture, making it look nicer. And the second one is the sound treatment, which is the most important part. You need 2 dead walls and you need 2 live walls.
You gotta diffuse, you gotta absorb.
And how we do that is like behind me here you can see some of the absorber panels, which are made out of 1x4 furring strips and Owens Corning 703. And then what you can't see on the other wall are diffuser panels, which kind of look like this. I'm still working on some of those because they take a long time to put together. So it is a work in progress, but when it's all done, it's going to be really interesting and we're going to record some really cool stuff in this space. We have officially sold out of our 2024 fan club. And we want to say thank you. Sincerely, thank you so much to everybody who bought one. We sent these out to 16 different states and 1 province.
I only have this one because I promised one of my copies to a friend of mine in Chicago, so I'm using yours for this.
So with our theme being the theme to the #1 pro wrestling podcast in the world, and with us selling out of our fan club, it's led to something that we're going to be debuting in the next episode of Bombs Away. And it will forever change the landscape of duos in the music industry. And this is just a tease.
That last segment raised a lot of questions, but that's what this segment is for. See, you write us questions at thexbombers@gmail.com or on social media at thexbombers, and we answer them here. It's time for Dear Bombers.
Brian from Warrensburg, Missouri writes, Dear Bombers, my art has social commentary, autobiographical content, and some images that I find interesting that need to be out of my head and onto the canvas. Are your songs similar to that sort of creativity?
Brian, that's a great question. And for some context, this is the same Bryan Batsell who did the awesome painting that we turned into a t-shirt for our New Love is Easy LP release pack back in 2021. Brian's one of our favorite artists. Follow him at Bryan Batsell Art. He does cool stuff. But let's talk about our art a little bit. So there is no singular origin point to our songs or genesis. It can be about a year that was happening into a second ago. It could be about a few seconds from a few years ago. Our songs have a lot of texture because we're really talking about very specific moments, but also this very general feeling that's hard to describe, and those two kind of come together. Think about it like 1,000 fireflies in a mason jar, right? The glow is tremendous, and it takes those 1,000 to really put it together, but if you take one of them out and look at it, it loses something. So Brian, it sounds like you're one of those 1,000 fireflies in a mason jar kinds of artists.
Mark from Champaign, Illinois writes, Dear Bombers, Bobby and Dennis or Bobby and Stan?
These are the two versions of the Midnight Express tag team, the legendary tag team as managed by our favorite manager, Jim Cornette, whose show that we supply the opening theme song to, which is why we're talking about it on this show. So, little context, we're actually lapsed fans. We loved WCW, it was our favorite, and we watched it until its demise, which was October 1999. And after a while, we tried to get back into wrestling. We tried some modern stuff, and as we were doing so, we got back kind of into like classic wrestling. Which is weird to call something from 1990 classic, but I'm going to. Because we ran across the Great American Bash 1990 VHS tape that Kitty's holding right here. And on it is one of the greatest tag team matches we've ever seen. It's the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette versus the Southern Boys. It's 18 minutes, and it's just riveting. Everything they do matters, it solicits such a reaction, and the pacing of this thing is just marvelous. It's like a great side of an album. It comes up, it comes down, it's fantastic. And part of this too is it was good guys versus a dastardly duo. And that dastardly duo was beautiful Bobby Eaton and sweet Stan Lane. So for us, the Midnight will always be Stan and Bobby. Or Bobby and Stan. We're going to talk about this a little bit, I bet, on Mark's podcast, which is called Jumping the Rail, which we record in May.
Tyler from Olney, Illinois writes, Dear Bombers, what's your dream venue to play, if any?
The longer you're a musician, the more picky about venues you get, or the less picky about venues you get. And we're in that other category, which is less picky. To us, it's really about the people who are at that place. So if the booker and the staff and the people are all about music and they love music, that's where we want to play. And there's been some places that we have played and some that we haven't. So one that we haven't
is Codfish Hollow Barnstormers. It's in Maquoketa, Iowa, in the middle of nowhere. It's a cool place though, and you can tell that people love music. We were actually supposed to play there in 2020 with Polaris. Yes, this Polaris from The Adventures of Pete and Pete, which is awesome. I'm a big Mark Mulcahy fan. We like his solo stuff. We like Miracle Legion. It's awesome. So we were supposed to play with him, and it was going to be great, but obviously it got postponed, and then I think it got postponed again, and then it got flat out canceled, which kind of devastated me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like really sad. So Codfish Hollow though would be a really cool place that we would like to play.
On another sort of wavelength, internationally, it would be awesome. We'd love to play some international shows. So if anybody out there is like, I'd love to see the Bombers in the UK, set up that tour. We're so in. But we actually get to play dream venues all the time because those are the places that help us build a following. And they know that a following is something that has to be built. And built because you believe in that band, and the band can build it because they believe in the place, and it's a special kind of relationship. So they put us on multiple shows. They make sure that they tell people about us, that they put us in front of eyeballs in special events. And those things just start to grow over time.
Yeah.
And there's certain places that do this for us that just come to mind. So like Dry Ground in Paducah, Kentucky, Hotel Trempealeau up in Wisconsin, Bulquarian Brewhouse in Monroe, Wisconsin, Blind Bob's in Dayton, Ohio, for the last decade has believed in us. That's amazing. Miskatonic in Darien, great place. Skeleton Key in Woodridge and Buzz Bomb in Springfield, Illinois. All awesome places, and just some of the places that believe in us and we believe in them, and we will always play there. And we're so loyal to it because they're the ones who helped us build it, and we'll just keep playing there. So that's our kind of dream venue. And speaking of dream venues, we're actually playing some this month. On March 9th, Saturday, we play the Cavetone Records 16-year anniversary spectacular at One City Tap in Chicago. We're joined by The Human Trials, Vortis, Patir Filius, and Safe Harbour. Music at 8 p.m., we play at 9:30. March sucks as established, and this can be the bright spot that gets you through to April. On March 23rd, Saturday, we make our debut at Bubblehouse Brewing in Lisle, Illinois. Very cool place, no cover, music happens 6 to 9. On March 29th, Friday, we make our long-awaited return to Door 4 Brewing in Decatur, Illinois. These shows are just fun and they must be experienced. Come meet our awesome art and music friends from Decatur. No cover, music happens 7 to 9 p.m. On March 30th, Saturday, we return to Artesia Brewing in Thawville, Illinois at our favorite family farm and brewery. Always a night of tasty beer and surprises at Artesia, as there was a wedding there last time, and if you want to get married and join us there, that would be amazing. No cover and music is 6:30 to 9:30. On April 5th, Friday, we return to the Wine Cellars in Macomb, Illinois for some music in their amazing outdoor space and our favorite happy hour anywhere. This is such a warm and inviting place where people connect over music and then get giggly over some wine and other libations. No cover, music 5 to 7. And on April 13th, Saturday, we make our return to Buzz Bomb Brewing in Springfield, Illinois for what is certain to be a celebration of the start of spring. Downstairs, music, beer, dancing, interacting. If you haven't seen us at Buzz Bomb, you haven't caught the full Bombers experience. No cover, music 7 to 10 p.m. And if you really want to encourage our analog antics, then just show up to your friend's house unannounced in the middle of the night and refuse to leave until they look at our shows and merch on thexbombers.com, follow us on social media at thexbombers, and then send us a series of tips in our tip jar with dollar amounts that eventually reveal the geographical location of treasure that they bury just for us.